Once in the videos of Date Birth, let us tell you again that there are a total of 5 oceans in the world. Out of these 5 oceans, the biggest portion is called the Pacific Ocean, and it is spread over an area of 165 million square kilometers. You will be surprised to know that 165 million square kilometers of our world's surface is covered by the ocean. Total land area is spread over 148 million square kilometers, which means that if we talk about Pacific Ocean by removing the other 4 options, then it alone is more than all the mountains, deserts, forests, and Ireland of our entire world. There are only Kana Islands in this whole operation, and they are so small that they look like just a dot in comparison to this vast ocean. And is this violence, most of which have not been set foot by any human till date. That is, if we talk about the whole, then if a person gets lost in the specification, then the chance of finding him is almost equal to 0. But today, you will know the real story of such a person who, he was lost in the specifications on a small boat, and that too, not just for 10 or 15 days, but for full 438 days. Yes, this person accidentally made such a world record, which probably no one would like to break, even if they want to. Alone in the sea. This world record of spending maximum time was made by a person named Jose Salvador Alvarenga, who spent 438 days in the sea, and that too on a small boat of just 7 feet. But the question is, how could he stay in the sea for 14 months? How did he survive alone? But before that, we will know why he went into the sea. It was 2012, lived in a small village of Mexico, Costa Azul, who was 36 years old at that time, and he was also an expert fisherman. On 17th of November 2012, Jose, along with one of his friends, left for fishing on their small board. Their plan was to spend only 30 hours in the sea. That is why they did not have much equipment on their boat, and there was only refrigerator in his boat in which he used to store fish. He had taken only 1 day's food and water with him. Little did he know that the next 438 days were going to be the worst of his life. He went 120 kilometers away from the shore and cast his net into sea. At that very moment, a terrible storm arose. In order to save his life, he left the fishing net there and ran back towards the shore. He rowed boat at a very high speed for entire 6 hours. By the time morning dawned, he was now only 20 kilometers away from the shore, and he could see his village. He had left the storm far away, but now his luck had stopped working, his boat engine damaged. Now he neither had Japut nor a cell to control the direction, but he had a radio through which he sent his location to boss and started waiting for his reply. But while waiting for the reply from his boss, the battery of his radio also gave up, and now the contact of these 2 mosquitoes with outside was lost. He and his friend were still engrossed in this hobby when suddenly what happened was something that they had not anticipated. Strong winds started pushing them back towards the sea, and the shore that they could see was slowly moving away from them. Their boss even formed a search party, and them also searched for him, but it was too late because as the days were passing, it was becoming very difficult for Jose and his friend to survive. 5 days had passed since the accident, and the winds had carried his boat 450 kilometers away from the shore. He was pushed kilometers and had reached a place in the ocean where there was all they could see was water. They knew that their board was so small that it could not be sopped even from a distance. Neither did they have any flare gun with them, nor could they generate a signal by lighting fire and using smoke. Jose and his friend had realized that the chance of their survival was now less than 1%. The food and drink they had brought with them already finished, so to fill their stomachs, they fed those birds with their own hands. They started catching the birds that used to come and sit on their boat, or they started catching the fishes present around board and eating them raw. Drinking salty water of the sea can kill a person. That is why they started collecting rainwater in plastic bottles floating the sea. He started drinking, but when it did not rain for many days, he used to call for fishes and tiles, blood his thirst, and that too when he was successful in catching them. Days passed, and then months by. Both of them got into the mental state. It is difficult for us to even imagine the torture they were going through. Ultimately, Jose's friend could not tolerate the torture, and after 4 months, he committed suicide. Now, he had no one to even talk on this small board, and he started living his life alone in this ocean, roaming around everywhere. If I look at it, then according Jose was present in this part of the specification, and it is considered to be the quietest part of world, so cargo ships also pass through here occasionally. It had been more than 6 months since he left the coast of Mexico, and during this time, Jose had also lost his partner, so he had become very frustrated. One day, Jose saw a cargo ship passing in the sea. This was first ship he had seen last 6 months. On seeing this scene, his hope of survival started to revive, and he moving towards the cargo ship. He made all kinds of gestures, but unfortunately, the ship's crew did not see this small board, and soon his hopes of survival were dashed once again. Imagine fighting with death in the middle of ocean for a day. How will you feel when finally get chance to save your life, and he too ignores you, goes away? After 11 months, Jose had traveled 8,000 kilometers to his small port. His clothes were torn, and he had only one undergarment left to protect himself from sunlight. In 30 January 2014, i.e. after 14 months, Jose saw coconuts floating around in the water. He understood that some island was near where the coconuts were breaking from trees and floating in the water. After a while, he really saw an island. He was afraid that he might miss out on Ireland too. That is why he jumped into the water and reached Ireland on his own. In the past 14 months, this was the first time the Jose had set foot on land, and when he reached Ireland, when there, he saw a small house in which the locals were present. This was the first time in last 438 days that Jose had contact with another human. This was a remote island of Ireland, Marshall Islands, which is called Ebon Atoll, and this island is 11,000 from the starting point of Jose, which was his luck that he reached as close to Ireland as small in the sea. Otherwise, then his next stop would have been in the Philippines, which is 5,000 kilometers away from this island. From there, he was sent back to his home, where on reaching there, another problem surrounded him. Yes, on reaching back, Jose published a book in the name of 438 Days, but a case was filed against him by accusing of killing his partner. The same friend went who committed suicide. I hope you all will like and share this video of as well. Allah Hafiz.